Hello guys, good morning. Hope you're doing well. Early in the morning on my side, 10:43. So we are going to do uh, some interview questions that is asked often in Excel. So since we are done with Excel, I would love to do these questions with you. So we do questions and answers, right? Make sure you stay tuned and we're going to start in a minute right now. So these questions are asked often. Okay? Everywhere you go, make sure you will come across these questions. So let me just open the questions. Hmm. So the first question that you will come across is this. Let me just write. Number one, it will be what is the difference between what is the difference between Excel workbook and worksheet? So we did this question, right? So this is the first question. What is the difference between Excel workbook and worksheet? I think let me know that if those words are small, you can see it. Have to open another one. Yep, it is very small. Yeah, I can see it. So let's do it with one word, but because notebook, I don't think it is good. Yeah. Let's change this because the font is very small. You guys are not able to see it, right? So I have to change to a better one. Yeah, this one is better. Okay, hope you can see the screen now. So the first question, we said what is the difference between Excel workbook and worksheet? Okay. So the answer to this question is a workbook a workbook let me just increase the font. So a workbook and say workbook is the entire Excel file, is the entire Excel file. Right? That is what we call a workbook that contains one or more worksheets. Okay, that is what we call a workbook. While a worksheet, this is how you are going to answer, right? While a worksheet is a single spreadsheet, or a tab within a workbook. You remember that? So yesterday, I think it was Saturday, when I was talking about the workbook and worksheet, where you enter and manage data. Okay. Okay. If you open your Excel, so the file that you're going to choose, that is going to be a workbook. Inside that workbook, we have so many sheets, right? One particular sheet is known as a worksheet. So, okay, that is the difference between the two. So the second question is, that is the first question. So let me write the second question. How do you remove duplicate values in dataset? How do you remove duplicates values in a data set? Okay, how do you remove duplicates values in a data set? Right? So you remember that small icon where we had the two cylindrical form shape, so that indicated remove duplicates. So how are you going to explain in a professional way? So you are going to say you will select. The more you talk in an interview, the better the chance that you're going to get the job, right? So you will select data, after selecting data, so go to data tab. That's how you're going to explain, okay? Then click duplicates, remove duplicates, remove duplicates. Remove duplicates. So you say two cylindrical shapes, that indicate more duplicate. That is how you're going to answer. So then you choose the column, then you click OK. Okay. Then click OK, and then click OK. Okay. So as you can see here, that is the second question. How to remove a duplicate. Okay, how to remove duplicates in a data set. So you will select data, go to the data tab, then click remove duplicates. So then you'll explain further where the remove duplicates are found. You say two cylindrical shapes that indicate remove duplicate, that is where the remove duplicate icon is found. So you then click OK. After you click OK, then the duplicates are removed. Okay. Number 3, that is the second question. So number 3, what are relative, absolute, mixed cell reference? Do you remember we also did this? What are relative? So these are questions that we just did it without knowing that these are interview questions. Absolute and mixed cell references in Excel, right? So by the way, these questions I got them from a recruiter, and it was better for me to give it to you, right? So please don't take it as a joke, don't take it for granted. These questions are very important. Okay, so because a recruiter was giving out these questions, and I wanted to go live. I just went to live. As soon as I got the question, I went live, researched the answers, then came here to present to you. Make sure you note down these questions and you grasp the answers so as much, or even when you are selected for an interview. So right now, the jobs that you can do based on what we have done the previous jobs. So you can apply for data entry. Okay, data entry only deals with Excel. Okay, so you can apply that job based on the knowledge that we have right now from week 1, from day 1 up to day 13, I think, I don't know. So we finished Excel and now we are in SQL, right? So for that, you can just go and revise Excel properly and apply for jobs such as data entry. So when you are selected, when you are shortlisted for that job, you'll come across such questions. Even if you are not a data analyst, you'll come across this question. So this question is very important for both data analysts and those who do data entry. Okay, so these are the kind of questions that we come across. So the third question, we say that what are relative, absolute, and mixed cell references. Okay. Don't know this thing. Alright, that is the question. So the answer for this is relative. Relative means changes when copied. So this one will change when copied. Changes when copied. Just answer that way, then you'll get the answer, right? Absolute, you say this one is a fixed one, right? Absolute from the word absolute. How do you write this? Absolute. Alright, so remember the one that had the dollar sign, something like that. Okay, fixed cell reference. Fixed cell reference. Now and we have the mixed, either row is column, either row or column is fixed. So one of the two is fixed. So just say mixed from the word mixed. It's either column or row is fixed. Okay, now let's do the what do we call, so how do you know between absolute, mixed and relative? Which one is relative, which one is absolute, which one is mixed? So that is another question. So let's do, for example, for the relative things, so e.g. something like this a1. Okay, this one is a relative. Okay, changes when copied. Absolute, on the other hand, has $2 sign, meaning that the row and the column are both fixed. All right, so something like this, though this is not a $sign, I'm not sure which one is this. Okay, just write a like a1, and then also something like this. All right, so okay, let's continue. So the cell reference, so for this absolute, we say it is fixed. Okay, now, so we say that it has $2 sign. The first one is for the columns and the other one is for the row. Okay, now we said for the mixed, either the column or row is fixed. So one is fixed. For example, if we say that the row is fixed, we are going to write this way. So this one is not fixed, this one is relative, and the other one is fixed. Okay, so something like that. So these are the difference. Okay, that is the third question. The fourth question we have here is, how do you use the VLOOKUP? How do you use some issues with the network here. So it says, how do you use VLOOKUP function? Provide an example. Right? How do you use VLOOKUP? Right? And provide an example. This is the question that is asked most often. Alright, let's do this. So try to explain this. VLOOKUP means the vertical lookup. So if you are told to explain an example, just write VLOOKUP. So come up with your own example. It doesn't have to be like mine. Okay. So provide an example. So you're going to explain based on an example. Right. 105. Let's say this one is for maybe the employee ID. A2 to A2 to A. Maybe this one is the criteria range to A10, something like that. I may have C10, something like that. Then say maybe 3, you're looking for the salary. It's found in column 3. Then false, need to get the exact number. Okay. Now you're going to explain now. This 105, this is an employee ID. You're looking for the salary for employee ID whose ID is 105. Okay, employee whose ID is 105. So you say VLOOKUP 105 is found in between A2 and C10. That the employee ID is found in A2. So you select the whole data set, right? This is selecting the whole data set. Then 3 means the salary. So the column in which salary is found. So it's found. You are going to calculate to count the columns from the left. So let's say maybe there's names, there's salary, maybe there's names, employee ID, and age. Oh no, employee ID, names, and the third column maybe it is salary. So that is why we wrote it 3. So false is you have to write false. That is must. Okay, for you to get the exact answer. That is VLOOKUP. Okay, and so that is what we have done. So we provided an example and explained, right, how to use it. So the fifth question, what is the difference between VLOOKUP and index match? So what is the difference between so which one is better? It's also a question that might be asked. Better and why? Alright, so if you look, if you ask that way, let's say VLOOKUP, answer with this one, the one that is simpler, is better and why. So let's say VLOOKUP is looks right and simpler. If you're more let's say if you like simple one, so let's say VLOOKUP is simpler. But if you want to get that job, really, they really need someone who is more, we say, who is good at, who is familiar with complex data analysis. If you're a data analyst, you're supposed to know how to use index match, right? For performance, just say index match, right? So we are going to say, for this answer, it has two parts. So what is the difference between VLOOKUP and index match? Okay, the difference VLOOKUP is the vertical lookup. So it goes when the data set is arranged in a vertical manner. That's the only way you can use a VLOOKUP, right? An index match, you can use it even if the data set is arranged horizontally. So that is why this one is more efficient. So you are going to say index match is much better. So let's say, let's answer this. So first let's look at the difference before. Okay, this one VLOOKUP only looks at the right, okay, of the data set. The data set must be arranged in a vertical manner. Okay, for you to use VLOOKUP. While index match, this is the correct answer, right? Index match can be used in any data any data type, right? In any data set, regardless the way. Okay, so for index match you can use it whether it is a vertical manner or horizontal, right? That is the first answer for this question. You should be careful, okay, to get the job. So which one is better? I said choose index match, right? Even though VLOOKUP is simpler, choose index match. So you say index match. Index match is better because it's more flexible, and often faster. You can give 2 reasons or 3 reasons depending on the way you want, but 2 is the better. Okay, larger data set. So that is the reason why index match is better, because it's more flexible and often faster for larger data sets. Okay, that is the 5th question. Let's go and see the 6th question. the sixth question that I'm given by the recruiter is, how do you handle missing or blank data in Excel? So how do you handle missing or blank data in Excel? Alright. So use filters or go to special blanks. So how do you handle missing values? Okay, there's two ways you can do it. You remember the F5 we used on Saturday? There was a work we did on Saturday where you press F5 on your keyboard, then you go to special key. So when you press special there, it will take you to a page where there is information such as blanks and other stuff. So you just you click blank, then it will go back to the original page where the data set is found. Then you put 0 after inserting 0, so it means that all the blanks will be replaced with 0. So that is the special one. So that is one of the cases. So you can say use special after clicking F5, alright? F5 on the keyboard. So you can explain it this way. This is much simpler. So use special after clicking F5, then choose blanks. So this is one of the ways. So I said the second one, you can do it with maybe let's say control in your keyboard plus with this plus F, right? Okay, this one will help you find the spaces. So once you press, if you are in Excel and you press this control plus F on your keyboard, then it will open a small page where you can now find the blank. So you just type that way, then click OK. This will now give you the blanks. Okay, and if you want to replace the blanks, you use control plus H. Alright, so our next point is using control plus F or control plus H. Okay, that is another way of doing it. So the third one, which I don't recommend, is using formulas. So our formula must start with equals to, then you write if, then open the bracket. If it's blank, so you say if it's blank, so then write the data set where it's found, A2, okay, comma, then you can change it with missing values, right? So what you want to change with, if you want to change it with missing, so for the blanks you can just type missing inside the blanks, like that. Then A2, A2. Alright, there you go. This will now replace the blank for the first data set. For the first column there you see A2, the row will be A2. So you will first change the first row. If you are using formulas, you will first deal with the first row. That is usually how it works. Then you can double click so that it returns the answers for the rest of the columns. Okay, so those are 3 ways. So you can choose the best 2. So the best 2 are this. Use special after clicking F5, then choose blanks. So then you can replace with what you want. Number 2 is using Control plus F or Control plus H. Okay, that is the 6th question. Question 7. How will you split full name into first and last names in Excel? So you remember the concat functions, something like that, Excel, right? So now this is separation. Okay, not concat. Okay, sorry for that. So you are supposed to split 2 names into first and last. For example, let's say Mike John. So this is one column. So we have 2 names here. So you want to separate this. You want Mike to be in one column and John to be in another column, alright? John to be in another column. Okay. So how are you going to do that? So there's also 2 ways you can do that. So the easiest one is this way. So use text, alright? You can use text columns. Under data tab, so with spaces you choose which one. With spaces as the delimiter. Okay, delimiter, right? So use text or columns under data. Okay, so after choosing that text to columns, then the spaces you are going to use delimiter. Alright, so then it will then separate the 2 names into 2 columns. The first one will be in another column, the second one will be in another column. That is the first answer. Use text to columns under data tab. Okay, so they put this. These spaces as delimiter. Or formulas, you can use formula if you want. So the formula is left. Okay, start with equal sign, then left, then open. So we are going to deal with the first row. That is usually the first row when you are using formulas. Okay, find then open bracket, then double quotation, space, then close it, then comma, then a1, then close the bracket, -1. So this one is more complicated, as you can see. This will now remove the first name, that was John. So you're going to do in another column, go to another column. So let's say the names are found in A1, so we go to another column and do right. Okay, instead of left, we're going to replace with right. Okay, just say right A1, then comma, find, so close, then you see, and find right. So okay. Okay, you're not going to do -1. Okay, that is the difference. But so this will now give you the second name in another column. Okay, you choose the one that you are familiar with. So this one is the easiest one. I mean this one, the text. So use text to column under data type. So with spaces as delimiter. Let's do it practically and see. So let's open Excel. So a minute. And okay, give me a minute, it's opening. I want to show you how Excel looks like. Okay. Let me share my screen. Okay, as you can see in my Excel, there's no information in this Excel. So we don't have anything in this, right? So we said we go to data tab, click here, then you move to text and column. Because we don't have informations in our data set, that is why we cannot click this information. So if you have a lot of information, so this is where now it means text to column. You click it there and you choose delimiter spaces. Okay, this will now separate into two columns. I hope we are together. Now let's go back to where we were at first. Okay. This is question 7. How will you split full names into first and last names in Excel? So that's how you do it. Now question 8. Question 8. Explain how to use the text functions like left, right, mid, len, and find. So how are we going to use this? So these are the answers. Left text. So the left text and close the first and characters. So that is the left. So it's going to remove the left side, right? That is what we use for left characters. So finds the end characters, and right does the opposite of this. So right text, and so it's going to find the end. So it's going to find the end characters, right? Now the mid text. So this one is the middle position. So instead text, so the mid means the middle position. Len, let's go to len now. What does len mean? Len counts. It counts the texts. Put together there. Counts the text. So that is it. That's how we use it. The find. So find, what do you use it for? So find positions of substrings. Find positions of substring. Okay, that is question 8. I hope we're together. Question 9. Question 9. How do you use the trim, clean, and substitute functions for cleaning data? How do you use? Do you use the trim, clean, and substitute functions for cleaning data? So trim, it removes extra spaces. Trim extra spaces, that is what we said, remember? Clean, so remove non-printable, so printable characters. Substitute, the other hand, substitute, does it do? Replaces. This is the one that we use Control plus H, so it replaces text. Oh, text. Okay, that is the 9th question. So you paraphrase on your own words. Try to make sure you are in this part. Okay, the answers are found here, but you can use your own words. Try to put to lengthen your answer. That is one of my best advice. What's the use of flash fill? Okay, give a real world use. What is the use of flash fill? So let's do it. Is the use of flash fill. Give a real world use case. Okay. Flash fill autofills autofills based on a detected pattern. Detected pattern. Now, example: extract initial from names type J. So John, and Excel fills the rest automatically. You just press Control plus E. Okay. I hope you guys have understood that. Flash fill. That is what we mean by flash fill. Use Control plus E. Okay. So here Control plus E, right? Now that is the 10th question. So now let's go to question 11. Question 11. So question 11. What is question 11 says? So question 11 says, how do you use if, and, or, and nested ifs in Excel? Okay, that is question 11. So let's start with if. If so, let's give the formula or an example. So to demonstrate our work, so it starts with equal sign, then if, open brackets. Let's say we are selecting data from, let's say A1 is greater than 50. A1, so let's say the column A contains numbers, and A1 is greater than 50, then comma, then pass or fail. Remember us using this. I hope you can remember, Excel. We use these formulas, the logical functions. If so there should be a comma here, then close bracket. is an example, right? Maybe these are marks. Then you said if it is greater than 50, then it is pass. Then if not, then it is fail. So it means that if usually looks for one condition, right? If that is the if, and you have to meet two conditions for you to get pass, right? Or it's either of the two. If you have met a certain condition, one condition of the two, then you are on the right path. So that is how OR works. Okay, so nested ifs. So these ifs is many ifs, so you combine. So instead of using too many ifs, you can just combine all those ifs into one and write ifs. Okay, let me just write what I mean by. So let's go to and first. And so you use and when you want two conditions to be met. So that's how you write met or what met, right? Or so we'll do the example so in a minute. So say it. Or you use when you want either the two conditions to be met. Alright. Okay, that is how we use for that is how we use it. Okay, right. So if you want, so you have two conditions, or and you also have two conditions, but and you have to meet the two conditions for you maybe to be written as pass or something like that. Okay, or you will meet one of the conditions, then you are in the right path. If you meet the one of the conditions, so you have two conditions. If you meet the certain conditions out of the two, then it is a true value is returned. A true value is returned. Or if you meet the two conditions and you are using or, still a true value is returned. Okay, trying to make it a bit simpler. Okay. Ifs, that is or and. For example, let's give an example here. Let's give it an example here. Say if, so it has to start with if, right? It has to start with if, then the bracket, then write and, then open bracket. Let's say column B, it's about performance. Okay, so you say B2 is greater than 9. So let's say if someone has to reach has to get performance greater than 9 and experience more than 10 years in that company for him to be promoted. Okay, so we say for the This is performance should be greater than 9. That's how you say it. Alright, so and so this is the first condition. It has to meet this, right? And that's what, yep, that is it. Or let's say now the work experience now. Work experience, let's say it is in column C. So you say C, so C, so maybe greater than 10. So maybe it has written there the years of experience. So you say more than 10 years of experience, then gets promoted. So now you put what you want here now. Close bracket. Now put two conditions. So you have to start with promoted. Not promoted. Halfway together, then you close your brackets. Okay, as you can see, so someone has to meet these two conditions. So the performance has to be greater than 9, the work experience has to be greater than 10 for him to be promoted. If he doesn't meet those two conditions, then he won't be promoted. Now for or, so or is written same as same syntax as and. Okay, let me show you that. For example, yeah, you have equals to if, then you open brackets, you just write or, then I write b2, so b2 is greater than 9. Let's just use the same formula, 9 at c, sorry for that, it should be c2. Okay, c2 should be greater than 10, then close bracket, goes to promoted. Okay, not promoted. Now close the bracket. Okay, that is how it is written, right? So or, it means the performance. If someone meets the performance maybe 9, greater than 9, but the years of experience he has less than 10, he will be promoted. That is what or means. So either of the two conditions, if one is met, then he is promoted, and if he meets both conditions, he will also be promoted. Okay, but if he doesn't meet the two conditions, then he will not be promoted. That is what we mean by or. For ifs, now that we have done the logical functions, these are logical functions. So ifs, I want to show you these ifs. So this one is not a must for you to use, and I don't usually use this one. Okay, and it's same as if, but if you don't want repetition, okay, and you want to make your work clean, something like that, then you can use these ifs. For example, let's say let's talk about discounts. Okay, normally, so if you remember Saturday we used this formula, use this one. It's about percentage discount. So said that if C2 is less than, so less than 20%. So if C2 is less than 20%, right? We said that, okay, if C2 is 20 is less than percent, then is a low discount, okay? Low discount. That's what we said. Then we put comma, then we wrote another if. Can't remember. So we said if C2 is greater than maybe 40%, medium discount, then high discount. As you can see here, we have repeated if twice. The first if is this one, the second one is this one, okay? So if you don't want to repeat the if twice, you use ifs, okay? You combine all this into one, so you say ifs, okay? Let me show you what I mean by, so you just type, so that's how it's done, right? Normal if. So if you want to use ifs, so you say ifs, and let's start with equal sign for that. Ifs, then open bracket, then you say C2 is less than 20%, then it is low discount, right? Low discount, okay? Then you put comma, you don't repeat the if. You say C2 is greater than 20%. So you say C2 is maybe less than 40%. Okay, 40%. Okay, 40%. Now we say medium discount, then you put comma again, C2 is greater than 40%, have discount. So let's put our double quotation here. It is here. Here. The other one is here. Here. Then there should be comma here, and there should be comma also here. Then close the bracket and run the query. So that is if. So you choose the one you're familiar with. both work the same. So for me, I love to work with this one. I'm familiar with this formula, so I use it. This. So you can use the one you want. So that is question 11. So it took us a lot of time, this question. Question 12. Explain how to calculate percentage change or growth in Excel. Explain how to calculate percentage change or growth in Excel. Okay. So for you to calculate percentage, it's just the normal way you have done it in high school. So we can just say equal sign, but remember we don't multiply by 100. That is the only thing. Okay. So calculate percentage change. So you say equal sign, new value minus the old value. Then you close the bracket, then you press the backward slash old value. So this means division, right? Divided by the old value. Right. So then you run this query. After run the query, you will get answers there. It will return a number there. After that, so that's not the end. You go to where? You go to home. After you run the query. Is this a query or not? I don't know. Okay. You go to home. Home. Change general to percentage. So that is it. That's for question 12. Let's now go to question 13. Question 13. So how will you summarize data using pivot table? How will you summarize how do you write this? Summarize data using pivot table. Okay, pivot tables. Question mark at the end. Point. First one, you select data. Then go to insert table. Then move to insert. Then you go to insert. Then pivot table. So when you click the pivot table, so it will form a table there. There will be a table that forms. So you can now drag fields into rows and columns. Okay, into rows and columns. Into rows. Let's remove this and say into rows, columns, and values. So to calculate sums, counts, etc. Okay, that is it. So that's how you summarize using pivot table. Now let's go to question 14. I'll go a bit faster here now. Question 14. What are slices in pivot table used pivot table used for? What are slices pivot table used for, right? And how do they help? Okay, and how do they help? Okay, let's answer this question. Slices, you say slices are, so these are two questions, right, in one. Slices are visuals, filters, and so that allows you to filter pivot tables. That is what slices are. Okay, you clickable button. That's how you're going to explain slices. So, and how do they help? They are used to create live dashboards or reports. Or interactive reports. Okay, and that's how we use them. Now let's go to question 15. I'll be going a bit faster here. Okay, question 15. Question 15. How do you create a dynamic range in Excel? How do you create dynamic range in Excel? Okay, use Excel tables or define a dynamic range with offset or index. So that is how we create dynamic range in Excel. So that is the answer for question 15. So now let's go to question 16. So when you are selected for an interview, make sure you go through this video and pause each question and trust that question with the answer. so that we'll be fully prepared for that. So if you answer the way I'm typing my answer here, then I can guarantee you're getting the job. So number 16, which charts do you use to show trends over time and why? So which charts? By the way, these questions are given by recruiters, so as I said earlier on, so sure you note them down. Okay, do you use to show trends over time and why? And why? Okay, so these are line chart, okay, line charts or column charts, but use line chart answer. Okay, line charts. Then try to explain in your own words. So let me just try to explain mine. Deal for time based because they clearly show change over time. So change is what I mean by change over time. So you use line charts for trends, okay? And why? So give the reason. Question 17. So how do you create, remember we said interactive report, so this is another question. How do you create interactive dashboards? Okay, so you use pivot tables. Slicers. Okay. Use slicers, pivot tables, then drop downs. So we said drop downs, charts, and possibly form controls, and possibly so combine all in one sheet. Combine all in one sheet for interactions. So that is question 17. Okay, now let's go to question 18. What is conditional formatting? Share practical use case. So what is a conditional formatting? Conditional formatting, okay, that is a question. Share a practical use. highlight. So it highlights. So the answer is highlights based on condition. Based on condition. Example. So highlights score that is less than 40, okay, in red. To spot failing grades, okay, to spot failing grades. Okay, so we highlighted in red scores less than 40. Okay, and it's used to highlight conditions. So that is what we use for conditional formatting. So question 18, that is it. Let's go to question 19. How can you highlight the top 5 values in datasets? How can you highlight top 5 values in a dataset? Okay, so select range. We're going to select the range you want. Select range, then go to conditional formatting. Then you go to top slash bottom slash bottom rules. So then select top 10 products, top 10 items, okay, then change it to 5. So then you change it to 5, from 10 to 5. Change it to 5. Okay, that is it. Okay, that is the answer for question 19. It's as simple as that. So you select the range, conditional formatting, then you choose where it's written top bottom 10 rules, then go to top 10, try to change this 10 and write 5. So that is it. Okay, question 20. Explain use of sparkline charts. So explain the use of sparkline. So sparkline chart. Okay, try tiny and cells, cell charts that show trends at a glance. Two examples show mentality. Two example show monthly sales, trends next to each product in one row. Okay, that's how we use the sparkline chart. So is when to use this sparkline chart. So show monthly sales trend next to each product. So the products and the trends. So let's go to question 21. go to question 21. What is Power Query and how to use it in Excel? Okay, what is a Power Query? So this question is much familiar with people who use Power BI. Query and how you use it in Excel. So if you're using Excel that is 2013, then it doesn't have the Power Query and how to use it in Excel. Power Query is a tool used to load, clean and transform data, okay, from various sources. Okay, it is found under data then you get to get data transform. Then you go to that part. You can filter now, merge, column, those stuffs, okay. But if you're using Excel that is 2013, you have to download Power Query separately, okay. After you download the Power Query, then you just run your Excel again. You will see Power Query written in a separate, in the ribbons, okay. Let's go to question 22. Question 22 says, what is the difference between Power Query and Power Pivot? What is the difference between Power Query and Power Pivot? Power Query is for importing and transforming data. Okay, that is for Power Query. Power Pivot, on the other hand, pivot is used for advanced. Now this one is for advanced data modeling. So this is not for data analysis, okay. So this one is mostly used in Power BI. Let's go to question 23. So what are array formulas? Once, okay, press on multiple values at once. So that is what we use for array formulas, okay. For example, if you're using sum, right, equals to sum average. So those are the array formulas. Okay, used to operate multiple values at once. Question 24. Let's do question 24. Second last question. What is the use of the indirect offset and choose functions? Okay, choose functions. So indirect, so it returns is the answer, turns text into a reference to a reference. Okay, for example, let's open a bracket here. So start with the formula here, equals to indirect as you can see here, that is what it, so it turns text into references. So if you're referring to something there, then you use indirect. Okay, then you close this bracket, so you have to close twice. Okay, now let's go to offset, explain this offset, right, it returns offset, so returns a reference from a cell, so it's almost same as indirect. Okay, so now let's go to choose. So picks a value based on position, okay, picks value based on position. So choose, so you want to maybe look for something, you want to choose something there, that's it, you use the word choose. Okay, from the simple word in English, choose. So just pick something, you want to pick a value based on a position, then use choose. Let's go to the last question. Question 25. How do you deal with large data sets in Excel without performance issues? So how do you deal with large data sets in Excel without performance issues? Use Excel table and structured reference. Use Excel table. So you use your own words. This one. So this one is an open question. So use Excel table and structured references. Okay. So there's so many. Use Power Query. Okay, there's so many, right? So that is the end of the 25 questions. So if you are maybe selected for an interview, make sure you check out this video, pause each question, and I am 100% sure you'll get the job because you have put a lot of effort. Okay, now you guys don't give up, so we are continuing with our lesson tomorrow, the sequel lesson. We are in day 13, I think. So we have not finished. So we have window functions, so storage, all those stuff. So we are going to finish that. So once we finish SQL, there will be a professor that will take you through the whole Excel, I mean SQL, because Excel I did it by myself. I remember very well, Saturday, right? Those who joined enjoyed the lesson. We finished from the starting point. So I did the whole project, but YouTube was not able to record the whole stream. I don't know why, but you will able to find that video though in the. So it is. I did it like 3 days ago, so you'll able to find. But it will only show you the last 19 minutes. But it is very also it's also important that's 19 minutes. You can go and watch that stream. Okay, if you are looking for mentorship, you want a mentor, so there's also in my about my channel, there's that contact, so you can just DM me and ask me. So even if you don't want to maybe mentorship, but you have some questions that are with you and you want someone to help you with the questions, you can just DM me and I'm ready to answer. Okay, so for tutor, private tutor and mentor, you can just contact me. I'm ready to listen to you. So hope you have a nice day. That's those who joined the stream, thank you so much. We are 392 subscribers, so that is good, to be honest. That is very good. And we gained a lot of subs the past week, right? Yep, we gained a lot of subscribers. Thank you so much for that. I can see you guys are dedicated and I'm ready to put my effort. Okay, and thank you once again.